This is the injury report presented by NYU Langone Health. Well, the Yankees bullpen struggle now that closer Luke Weaver has headed to IL with a hamstring injury. In today's injury report, we're talking hammies. We're bringing back Dr. Dennis Cardone, Chief of Primary Care Sports Medicine at NYU Langone Health, to break down Weaver's rehab and, of course, when he could return to the mound. Doc, really quick, how you feeling? How you doing?
Doing so well. Always great to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for joining us. You got all of Yankees Nation watching this because Luke Weaver has been off to a great start for the season, and he's probably been the Yankees' best closer up to this point. Aaron Boone and the team, they're being a little bit tight-lipped. They're not saying much about his return timeline, but ESPN did report that he could miss 4 to 6 weeks. So what would be the best and worst case scenario for returning from a hamstring injury for a pitcher?
I would say that. I would say, 3 to 6 weeks would be typical, that the expectation would be he's back on the mound in that time frame. The shorter term, 2 weeks, and occasionally there's certain hamstring type injuries that can go a full 8 to 12 weeks, but usually that 3 to 6 week range.
All right, so when we talking about, like, because hamstring injuries, these soft tissue injuries, we see them pop up all the time, all types of sports. But when it comes to baseball, is there a difference between how a pitcher and a position player attacks their rehab to get back to action? Like, can you be more aggressive with the rehab in one position other than others?
They're typically very different injuries. The position player, it's more a sprint. Either they're running the bases or, moving fast after the ball, and they have a real acute injury. For the pitcher, it might be more chronic. It's a gradual onset, stress that they're placing on that hamstring, pitch after pitch, more an overuse type injury. So sometimes you're right, the rehab can be different from one to the other, and occasionally we can actually be more aggressive even with the pitcher than we can with one of our position players.
Doc, when you had mentioned it could be an overuse injury, he had strained the hamstring after completing a warm-up and he was stretching. So could there have been something that was already going on with it? Because I've never heard of someone tweaking a hamstring while stretching. Maybe me in yoga, but not a professional athlete like Luke Weaver.
I would say yes. I think you hit it spot on. I think this was coming down the road, maybe just
Okay.
repeated stress on that hamstring, multiple pitches, or even over a period of weeks was coming down the road and finally presented itself.
All right, $1 million question here, Doc. What's the recovery for the weekend warriors and out there and folks who aren't a professional athlete? You know, those people that are all in the comment section and they're calling out athletes. They're calling them soft for missing time with a hammy and other soft tissue injuries. So is there anything that they would be doing differently if they strain their hamstring?
These can be tough injuries to get back to, but we try to get rehab started on our weekend warriors, weekend athletes, just as quickly as we do our professional athletes. So immediately start a stretching and strengthening program within their zone of comfort, and start some cross-training program. They get on a bicycle, maybe if they could tolerate it, get in a swimming pool. And as they're progressing over that, what we talked about, 3 to 6 week period, then start to add more of that strenuous activity, more stress on the hamstring.
All right, well, Yankees fans are hoping he can get back pretty soon. He's got 8 saves on the season and 24 strikeouts and 25 and 2/3 innings. We don't know which Devin Williams we're going to get going forward, but hopefully Luke Weaver can get back out there. Doc, thanks for putting a lot of people's minds at ease today. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having me.